This is your boy Concert Viz 34, and we are live here on a late Sunday night. I could not get on last night because I actually went to a concert. It's been a while since I've been to a Saturday night show, but I just not much going on that I wanted to go to. We're going to talk some Dave Matthews Band, but check out my video. Johnny Swim gave a review of them, and also went to the show, got some a video up from that show. An incredible experience last night to see them, and go back to College Street Music Hall, which is a great venue here in Connecticut. But we have a lot that transpired. Uh, a lot of revolutionary things happened this week with the band, but also at the same time, there's perspective to look back and say, all right, maybe we did overreact a little bit in some ways, but in other ways, hey man, like the reactions did help. So we're gonna go back to Des Moines, Iowa, the show that we had here on May 14th, which was last Tuesday. Last Tuesday, the band comes in to Des Moines, Iowa, and this was a show I said was lesser demand, smaller market, closer to some of the DMB, um, closer to some of the DMB, markets where you have the Alpines and the Deer Creeks is closer to that, but still it's out there. So I was like, well, this is going to be an easy show to get tickets to, but I didn't expect much from this show, and they proved me wrong. Patrick says, oh, MTV was pouring Johnny some 10 years ago. Right. They've been around since '05. And I talked about it in my video. I didn't really see that. I think I'd heard the name, but I didn't know what the heck a Johnny Swim was. But yeah, they're really dope. Uh, yeah, going to Iowa, we got a heck of a show. And what you're gonna notice as we go show by show, there's not any liberations, but these sets are still amazing. Which is the point I've tried to make too. Is fans who are hoping for more from the band, they understand the energy. That's not what we want more of. We just want different songs to be chosen. We don't want liberations. You played some of the stuff, just put them in an order where you give everyone what they want. And this is what they did this week. We start off with Des Moines, Iowa, and you have a fish tender, big eye fish and a bartender, and then followed by that is so right. And then they go back into the, do you remember? And you're like, all right, that's a new song. You play it. I don't like I don't care for do you remember outside of a little breakdown like that. Like that's the only real dope part about it. Other than that, it's pretty generic. And I know the album is dedicated to a friend who he passed that Dave knew, but an R.I.P. to that person. But the do you remember just after one or two plays live that I've heard it, I don't care. But people like that song. It's a newer song that Dave likes to play, so he can play it. Then after that, so much to say. Anyone see the bridge? Too much. This is a staple in the band that hasn't what the band is doing this tour, and it's something that hasn't been done that much in a while since the earlier days of DMB. Another thing I would love. It's not anything magical. Too much is not that hard to play for Dave. So much to say, it has a little more intricate stuff, but it's not like we're moving mountains. Usher's "Here I Stand" 2008 style. We're just asking for things that have been gone away for unknown reasons. So they do that. Then you go back to Samurai Cop, a song that I do connect with because I do like I work with children, and I have known children now that are going to college that they were babies when I was first working in my church daycare. Like I know that like the day you can like seeing a kid grow up, like it's something that connects to me because a lot of these kids that I've mentored and worked in the church daycare with are like my little brothers and sisters. So but again, Samurai Cop, that I don't have to hear it again. But then right after Samurai Cop, you get Crush. Then after Crush, you got The Stone. And then you go to Crash Into Me Again, a mainstream hit. So they're still doing that. And you have Kill the Preacher, Why I Am, a song that, I don't need to hear it again, but it pays tribute to Leroy and it's something that Dave likes. Okay, he plays it. Recently comes back. Oh, what? You remember this song, Dave? He remembers it. They're back in it, and it's nice to have that. And then you go to Funny the Way It Is, great with Buddy, but still a song that, is, people aren't chasing Funny the Way It Is, but still a great display with Buddy. He adds enhancements to the song. Then you go to Typical, great song, a song that makes any set better. Then you go to You and Me, which I go to the bathroom to, but people love that. People, that was their wedding song. So you're pleasing that market. Then Every Day, it's all right, but people love that song. The message of that song, people like to hear. So it pleases a certain market. Then PNP Rapunzel, Sister, and then Watchtower. So you have, all right. So some people don't like, yeah, Sister. Like, it's actually it's a beautiful song. I just, again, it's not gonna turn my head, but I think it's nice when Dave does it. But again, appeasing to that crowd that likes Sister. So this was a great set where if you were a mainstream fan or if you were chasing something, you got what everyone got, went home happy. And that's what's awesome. And Patrick says, yeah, when you hear so much to say, anyone sees the bridge and too much is next up. That is true. Although I think last tour, the European tour, they weren't playing the bridge. Anyone see the bridge that much? But yeah, it and sometimes it's like in Mohegan, we got so much to say and that was it. But yeah, it used to be back in the day. It was always like too much, so much to say. If anyone see the bridge in the middle. So that's Des Moines, Iowa. Everyone is raving about this show. Everyone is happy. Everyone's free. Keep the big door open. Everyone comes back around. Why are you different? Why are you this way? If you don't get in line, we're gonna lock you. Like everyone, it was a typical classic DMB situation where the set is dope, and I feel like it's 2013 again. Then we go to the next day. All right, they have no days off. They have the next day in Missouri, Maryland Heights, Missouri. So what's going to happen? This is really outside of St. Louis. What are they going to do? They haven't been to this venue in a minute, too. I have no idea. And then all of a sudden, they do a 41 to say goodbye, which is a very, very rare occurrence that they're back to back. It should be something more frequent. If I had my way with the sets, it would Talking Tunes. What's up? But 41 to say goodbye is just something that should be played. I don't like. Maybe there's reasons, because especially with the flute solo and all of that stuff, and Jeff having more skills with the saxes. And by the way, Jeff Coffin, the fact that he can play all his instruments, I'm a woodwind player. I was a clarinet player growing up, and these instruments all have different, like the fact that he can play. He was playing clarinet out in Texas, just chilling in between days or something. Clarinet and sax, like the fact that he can play the flute the way he does. These instruments have, and I was extremely skilled with an uncle who went to Boston Conservatory who gave me some tips and tricks, and I was an honors clarinet player my senior year of high school. I was much better at clarinet than I have been at guitar. Um, but guitar is just a cooler instrument. But I was going into clarinet, but to learn that versus learning flute, and then you have to transpose and learn, like there's different notes. Like Jeff does a heck of a job, but so I know it's probably hard for the flute to be played. But 41 to say goodbye, dope when it's back to back. And again, you get a Raven, you get a Stair Leave tour debut, you get a Graces Gone tour debut, a two-step. And here's where we get two-step comes back, and it's coming back in May. Now, remember, even before Buddy joined the band, two-step wasn't getting played in 2016 that often. They started cutting it back in 2016, 2015 with the two sets. They were playing it more, especially with those two sets. But after 2015, it got cute without the E. Go ahead, tell all your friends Taking Back Sunday style. So, boom, we get all this stuff back. And this set still, again, has the Shake Me Like a Monkey's, the Jimmy thing, the Bayous, the Samurai Cop yet again. But Satellites there, Don't Drink the Water is there again. But you have a Raven, you have a 41 to say goodbye. You have a two-step in the Ants Marching. And it's just a crazy thing. Patrick says Sister for the encore did the same thing in Burgerstown last year. Yeah, I mean they do it here and there. there. But it's again, so people like that song. It's a sentimental song that you can, oh, sister, sister. And I mean, it's about a sister, and he lost a sister, and he has one left. And so it's like, all right, cool, Dave, do that. Do your thing. That's what you want to play. So, but again, this set has everything that different fan bases are looking for. You got some hits, you got some deeper cuts, and the other thing is the Stone goes back to back nights. This is probably the biggest shocker to me. I talked in another video about how difficult the Stone is to play. It's a couple notes, dun, 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 but it's a song that is very, very hard on your left hand. Even your right hand has to have accuracy and speed. Um, so, yeah. Well, Patrick, it was the first one. The encore spot one usually starts off light. You remember they do oh sometimes, they do some devil, they do and some devil's probably better than all those, but oh sister, they start off with a nice quiet song and then they go boom right into Watchtower, which they did. They did that. So that's usually what they do is they'll start off slow, just Dave solo, and then boom, get right into the heavy stuff. Oh, yeah. So the Stone back to back nights that really shocked me too. I saw the band was starting to kick into full gear at Des Moines, but to do Stone back to back nights is a treat, and that's awesome that both of those markets, Des Moines and Maryland Heights, Missouri, got the Stone because they're typically not getting that at a show. That's being reserved, and it's not even played that much anymore. It's being reserved for one of the bigger shows, Gorge, SPAC. Even Hartford hasn't had a Stone since 2012. Okay. Now Mohegan technically did, but even before that, the last Stone in Connecticut was 2012 before the winter tour that went on last year. So it's something that back to back, I'm like, okay, this is lit. We about to get some nice, like some special things added. And then we get the two step in the Ants marching. And a two step is kind of cut off and it's kind of different tempo and things like that. Time bomb intro, but it's back. And when was the last time they played by I'll Back You Up? Probably a couple years ago. I think I heard it. I mean, they were definitely playing it with the two sets. The two sets brought back recently. It brought back I'll Back You Up. So they played it. It was more in the two sets. I can even look that up here. But we get these first two shows in the weekday, and like, okay, things are changing up. And now I want to stop here for a second because what I think that this is what I would actually like to happen. I think this is a good change. There's been a lot of talk about Carter not being able to play two step, not having the energy, not having the stamina to play two step. That's why they said they haven't been playing it that much because they want to save Carter. I don't know how true that is. I really don't. I can't tell you. I mean, I'm not part of the band, but they're saying that's really the big thing is that. So I'm trying to look up. I'll back you up. See all time. Last back, I'll back you up was 6/7/2017, and I believe that's a Dave and Tim because they didn't tour that full band didn't tour that year. Before that, 7/1/2015. Yeah, so it was. Yeah. So last I'll back you up was Dave and Tim, technically in Jersey, 6/7/17. Last full band one was July 1st. DMB two steps, and that's in St. Paul, Minnesota, when they played indoors in 2015 there. So those are the last two I'll back you ups. But the two step, I don't mind it being shorter, and I think it's better that it's shorter because it allows for more space. Call me crazy. Our SPAC Night 2 was amazing. And we got two step. We did get two step and it was cool. I mean, a great performance. The balcony was rocking. But if I could have been a partial two step in the Halloween, I would have chosen that. I would have chosen that over just a full two step, which is why I support two step, even if it goes into ants, even if it goes into something else. I support two step being cut down. Carter is going to be okay if there's any concerns, how with the speed and all that stuff, whatever he has to do technically. You get us the spirit of two step. We don't need it to be 20 minutes, okay? Seek Up is dope 20 minutes. Two steps are great when they are like the one in Noblesville was dope last year, Deer Creek. But it doesn't have to be 20 minutes. Just give us the feel of it and then go to Halloween. Give us the feel of it and go into Ants. I support this change if this is going to be a long term change. If it helps the band, it helps us because we get more variety. Two Step is a song that I took it for granted while it was played frequently, even though it's not played frequently, but across the Northeast, I was catching it here and there pretty much every year. So I support it being cut down because you didn't even when Boyd was here, you didn't need Tim to play the solo every time. Now he does his thing. You could cut that solo in half. Like they were just extending it out, and the energy is that it's there for the energy. Right. And Talking Tune says the extra long two steps don't have much variety. They don't. And actually, what made the Deer Creek one dope is they had this whole breakdown of just going crazy. Even without Boyd, it was bah, bah, they was going ham, and like it was just like different type of drum stuff, different types of jamming. And even that had a pretty much most of that two step, even in Deer Creek, was pretty predictable about you knew where people were coming in and coming out. So I support that, and that's what we got from those shows. Now we flash forward to Texas, and Texas is interesting because this is where the band usually starts. And I talked about it. I said it's going to be interesting to see what happens. The band gets to Texas. This is where they usually start. Will Texas get better shows? And you know what? The answer is yes. They got better shows this year than 2013. That's when you can compare these shows to 2013. But anything after 2013, Texas didn't have what it's the bar was raised up this year compared to the last couple of years. So, and even that's counting the Dave and Tim and Sugarland too. Like the bar was raised. So we get to north of Houston, the Woodlands, just in the northern suburbs of Houston, and we get the so much to say. Anyone sees the bridge too much. Again, something that I think adds variety to this. Something that is going to make things be mixed up. You have the Seek Up in the 5 spot. You have the Do You Remember? It's funny the way it is, but the Seek Up in the 5 spot, dope. Again and Again, I actually like this song, and I think next week I'm going to try to talk more about why I think the band, like what I think the band does well in its current setup, what songs are the best for this band in its current setup, and even with Boyd back, a couple years back. But this current setup and the setup with Boyd in the 3.0 era, I'm going to go over some things and some more to come on that. But Again and Again is a song that fits the band well in this era. So Right Again coming out, another song that just fits this band well. And we get a Bartender. Okay, so Bartender comes back. No Big Eye Fish, but you still get Bartender. You get the Crashing the Me's, You Might Die Trying. Here's where we get to the band is saying, all right, this isn't your usual thing. Digging the Ditch tour debut. Can't Stop. Okay. Dancing Nancy's was supposed to be followed by You and Me. And Talking Tune says, yeah, glad to see Too Much coming back. Song is a rip roar live. Yeah, hit song or not. And the energy of the band is great for this. Too Much, like the noise. This is where you're supposed to have that noise and the horns and because Dave's parts are so open, allowing for more energy to be there. So Too Much is in the wheelhouse, not the warehouse, the wheelhouse of this band's favorite sounds and favorite tendencies there. So I think it's great. And here we have a Dancing Nancy's was supposed to go to You and Me. They axe it and go to Warehouse. This is where you're seeing the band is making live attempts to say, yo, we scratching that, not because of a curfew, To my knowledge, not because of a curfew, just because they wanted to say, all right, we're going to just continue the energy. We're going to feed off the crowd and go, Nancy's the warehouse. And that's a great thing to do because warehouse takes longer than you and me. If the curfew was a problem, you and me would be the song to play. So watching a live show and they did that cut, there's a notable hesitation of Nancy's where you could tell they were making that switch. Okay, so you could see that in the live. Okay, so that's a sorry, but there that hesitation and changing that's beautiful. This band is best when it's improving and when it makes a little bit of awkward mistakes or transition. That's the best part of this band when they do stuff on the fly. And okay, you have a one shot. Yes, I'm still live, Sandra Jones. And then we have a one encore. You have a one song encore, and this is probably because of a curfew. And what the other thing we have to realize is the band did a lot of arenas, and arenas typically don't have curfews because they're arenas. You can block the sound out. They're away from neighborhoods for the most part. They're usually away from a neighborhood and where amphitheaters have to be built in plots of land that sometimes are in the suburbs, like the Woodlands. The Woodlands is not in the Houston city limits technically. The Woodlands is north of what the main part of Houston because there's land out there and they built it in the woodlands. Deer Creek, right? It's not in Indianapolis. Maryland Heights, Missouri. That's not in the St. Louis. Plus, a venue being built in St. Louis. I'm just playing. I love it, but you know, they built it out in the suburbs. So, oh yeah, there's fines for like over the break the curfews, right? So we're gonna get in this territory where now that we're outdoors, certain venues have curfews. So you gotta be careful. And FYI, Hartford doesn't have a curfew, guys. So if you're looking for a show to pick up, or Mansfield does have a curfew. So if you're going to New England, you don't have to worry about it in Hartford, but you do have to worry about it in Mansfield. Because Mansfield is in the woods, Hartford's in like right north of the city, and still in the city limits. So they can play loud. So that's the thing we're gonna have to keep in mind, and that's what this show brought up. And it was a good. I noticed it was like one song encore, like that's gonna be something that happens. But when you have Deer Creek used to be out in the country, bands play as long as they wanted. The Dead played till 2 a.m. Okay, right, and a lot of these suburbs built up. A lot of these areas built up and had different things, so it's different. Right, and the Dead. I mean, yeah, the Grateful Dead. But also the Dead. The Dead didn't do amphitheaters until later on. They were doing stadiums. I mean, they were doing Foxborough Stadium. They were doing Giant Stadium. They were doing Veterans Stadium, like DMB did for a little bit. The Dead were doing those stadiums. They were doing the one in the Buffalo Bills venue, Ralph Wilson Stadium. I've seen some of those classic shows of the Grateful Dead there. RFK Stadium, right? And then they did arenas like the Nassau Coliseum, and times they did like the Capitol Theater and stuff. But they did more so they could play out. Where these amphitheaters now, modern day, are different than what the Dead did, and that's also the crowds of the Dead were doing stadiums. So stadiums are out in bigger areas. They have longer times they can play. With the amphitheaters, they're more conservative because they're in the woods. That's current era. So yeah, we do get a one song encore, but I mean, you got a Nancy's in the Warehouse. Knowing that transition, if you look back at the set, hey, no, just a one song encore, but I got a Nancy's in the Warehouse. I got a So Right. I got a Seek Up. I got the Bridge. The Who ended their show last night at Deer Creek at 10:30. The crowd was not happy. Okay. Yeah, that's yeah, I'm sure because it's like then those tickets aren't cheap. And actually, my friend, his dad was a tech for the Who and the Stones. He actually has pictures with the Stone. It's past the Who's bedtime. Yeah, and the nostalgia acts is interesting because right, it depends because some of these nostalgia acts, like I remember seeing BB King, and he just wanted to get in bed. Like I mean, it started on time. Buddy Guy started, and then BB King was in and out. He did play for like an hour 20, right? I mean, BB King has hits, he can play for 3 hours, but he only played like an hour 20 to maybe hour 30 or 90 minutes. But it was kind of like it ended kind of earlier, but he has to get to bed. So, oh, they had an orchestra. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, but the Who, I never saw them, but at this point, it's just not the Who. So I don't know if I want to pay the prices, but I love the Who. I mean, Pinball Wizard and Eminence Front and Behind Blue Eyes. Like I remember learning Pinball Wizard on guitar was like the best thing ever. Oh, Ringo's son is on drums. Okay, but Pinball Wizard, that was the best. Like I once I got that on guitar, it was just one of the coolest things to play. So I mean, I love the Who and their influence, and even like the concept album Tommy. Like I just love the Who there. So that's all right. That's Houston. One encore, and we're getting outside Dallas. Now this is a big show. This is a big show because it starts off with people traveling down there had issues. They had issues because the weather. So people were just flying into Dallas for that. People were flying from Houston to Dallas, and other people had plans to have a flight or have plans into Dallas, DFW, and the other joint. I can't remember what the other airport's called in Dallas Fort Worth area, and severe weather hits. And this is that time of year. Severe weather is worse to me down south in March, April, May than it is in June and July because it's like the change of the seasons does something where you get flooding, you get fronts, warm and cold fronts colliding. But the weather is the worst at this time. So it's gonna happen, and it did happen, and people were affected. And it's too bad for those who had to make plans, who had to be extra stressed, especially because this was the better of the two shows. But it's hopefully everyone was able to resolve their problems. I saw things late in the early that night into the morning of that Saturday show yesterday, the 18th. So that hopefully everyone was able to get there that needed to, because there were people in some tight situations of flights being canceled, having to drive, having to do other stuff. But we get into here, and the weather is a big concern. But the weather becomes something where we get JTR, and before that, we even get. Here's what's cool: we get a stay in the second spot. Something I've been talking about, preaching about. So, Talking Tunes booked this flight to Tampa, West Palm Beach. Ooh, those shows are gonna be hot. Sure. Ooh, I can't imagine. Florida in the summertime is. Ooh, Florida in the spring is warm, but Florida in the summertime. But you have fun down there. Talking Tunes for Tampa, West Palm Beach. There with the 2 nights in West Palm Beach. But I have no desire to go to those Florida shows. If they move them up, if the Florida shows were in April, I would love to go. Too hot, too hot, and then they have them later in the year. I'll catch what I can catch up in the Northeast. But yeah, talking to us. Let me know how it goes though, and your experiences there because you always have great insight in being there. I know you're going to see certain things and observe uh, things that we can definitely talk about here. But we get to stay in the second spot, a great thing to mix up, and we get the anyone sees the bridge. Do you remember anyone sees the bridge too much? And then we get a JTR. This is something that's done. The crowd chants JTR and they play it. This is again something that you don't see, especially in a Dallas. No offense to Dallas, but they don't even do it at SPAC. They were chanting, "Thank you for letting me be myself." Like in SPAC last year, they never didn't play it. At many places, SPAC and the other Deer Creek and stuff, they'll do that. But Key West, Key West. I was down there last year. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I went to my cousin lives in Homestead, and I was in Miami Beach just on vacation. But it is so beautiful out there in Key West, and I think that I don't know if it's 41, but the coldest recorded temperature is like in the 40s ever. Yeah, full of retired musicians. Jimmy Buffett has a studio down there, right? And there's a couple other people that have different situations down there. But the coldest temperature is like 40, so you're not gonna freeze. Literally has not frozen um, ever. February 15th, it got to 41. Okay. I saw it because I was just when I was there, I saw like it said the lowest recorded temperature, like had it historically. But I mean, yeah, like that's crazy. Like again, I'm from the Northeast, so just even having family from the South, I've seen it freeze in Georgia. But but it was a cool trip to go. I went to Key West. It was a bus trip from Miami Beach. Um, Personally, this is just me personally. I like I would like to visit Key West. I don't think I could live down there. A because hurricanes. If I was retired and a hurricane comes, it's extremely hard to leave and it's stressful to leave and then to have to rebuild. Now it's you're playing with dice. You're rolling dice. They didn't really have that many hurricanes before the last one, and even that last one, they kind of rebuilt everything up. But you never know. But it's beautiful out there. Like it's just so peaceful, and the vibe is so relaxing down there in Key West. And again, it's warm. Oh, your hotel was 20 foot from the peak tiki bar. Hurricanes, hurricanes is what I'm saying. I understand because well, blizzards. That's a trade. Well, see, I'm different. I'm in the Northeast. Blizzards, even if you're older, you can. Oh, he's talking about drinks. Blizzards, hurricanes. I think, or maybe you are. I don't know. But it's tough when you have if you're by yourself. If you're you had a spouse and then they pass, or you have limited family. Having to leave for a hurricane is a tough thing when there's only 75 and 95 out of there and gas stations running out of gas all the way through southern Georgia for the last one. My cousin had to take her three kids out of the state, and it was stressful. But I mean, Florida's nice and Florida's crazy. The country in Florida, but the cities and Key West is different. It's a different vibe. But Patrick, he had a good time. But all right, sorry, y'all got me sidetracked. Come on, guys, stop getting me sidetracked. But we get a JTR, the crowd chants, and they get it. And this is something that they haven't done. By the way, JTR hasn't been played outside of the Eastern time zone, and for United States JTRs, not counting overseas, since 2006. The Gorge 9/3 2006 was it was the that's the Western times, Pacific time there. So it's come close because they played JTR in Deer Creek, and then and that's it right before. I mean, you drive less than an hour from Deer Creek, and you're in the Central Time Zone. So it hasn't been played. Like there's been even Bristol in the East Coast. There was a horrible rainstorm. There was flooding that cut the show short, and even the band didn't say, "Oh, we feel bad. We're gonna play JTR." Where I went to Hartford, and it was crazy rain there, and they just played it. So it's like they don't do it for certain parts of the country, but they did it for Texas, which was nice. They were feeling it and they did it, and that's what I like to see from the band. That's the type of stuff. It's just all it takes is one song. They didn't play something that was again no liberations in these last couple shows that I'm going over for this past week. They're just regular songs that just haven't had a frequency yet that they're now being played at. So if we get a JTR. So it says, talking to us before Dave went into Anyone Sees the Bridge last night, he did the baby at the end of So Much to Say. key to start the bridge. So does it count as a so much to say last night? Where he said, I don't think that counts. Anyone sees the bridge. Oh, so much to say tease. Does it count as a tease? I mean, I guess you could. I don't know. The almanac that I would ask the DMB almanac. They're like the OGs on that. Um, I think was there any playing? I think part of a tease though too is like, although the Lying in the Hands of God has the American Baby tease. Some of it is having also the he threw it in there and then go directly. So I think some of it has to do with playing the actual stuff too. Like the people tease from 2012 in Mohegan that I went to, it was Fonz playing the actual like riff there. But yeah, so I don't know. I would consult the almanac on that. I can't make that call. I'm gonna defer. But JTR, I mean, that's a big moment. And then Lying in the Hands of God to me is a song that I don't know how everyone else was. I keep preaching this. Lying in the Hands of God is just, to me, this is always something that's going to enhance a set for me, especially in the way it is now, where it's not the super long version that they used to do. So I think I love Lying in the Hands of God. And then we have some, the Don't Drink the Water, Sledgehammer, Jimmy's. We have those things come in. Why I ain't typical is nice, typical, dope. Then why I am PNP Rapunzel, and then we get the two-step into Halloween. Two-step. So you don't mind the live tracks 22? Oh, you know what though? My first show had the long live tracks 22. Is that Atlantic City? Is that AC? Is live tracks 22 Atlantic City? Right, but is that the live tracks 22? Because that's the one that like that one is amazing. And the one I got my first show ever was in it's Pennsylvania. Okay. Oh yeah, that's Patrick's home venue, Burgerstown. That's the last Roy show, right? Good night, Granny. Good night. Thank you for stopping in and talking about Key West and just giving your input. Oh yeah, Scranton, yeah. Because it was Montage Mountain, right? Oh it wasn't Burgerstown, it was Scranton, right? Because those are two different ones. Scranton is Wilkes-Barre. Scranton is different. Talking. Oh, Bristol. I'm getting them all mixed up. Yeah, Bristol only with the green, the live track with the green. It has Idea of You. They took the clip of that for the new album. Okay. So I'm getting. I don't know why I'm getting. Unless it's because I'm always thinking Patrick. You talk about your last show. I know. But the Scranton one is different because that's different than Burgettstown. Burgettstown is in Pittsburgh. Scranton is in central Pennsylvania, a little ways out. Yeah, and then okay, so yeah, I'm mixing them up. But Lying in the Hands of God, yeah, the long ones are cool, but some people didn't like them. So I think this is a good balance because it allows for more songs to be played. When the older version of Lying in the Hands of God it was played, you took up more time, meaning less stuff for other songs. So I think it's a good balance. Although again, I do like my first Lying in the Hands of God was just an amazing experience. And that was 520, 512. The story ahead of that tune was hilarious. It was late. We were in the studio a little while, about 150 years. He said that. I know that, but it has riffs from Leroy, which is like another like thing that makes it kind of magical and the mystique of it. But then the big thing here, two-step into Halloween. Two-step into Halloween. There's not a moment that's been better on this tour. There's not a moment that has been better on the tour than Two Step in the Halloween. I mean, it's oh, that's the Days Speak. Okay, on the live track. Okay. But Two Step in the Halloween is just a great, great, great moment for this band because Halloween was not being played except it was played in Virginia. But that was it. I mean, looking at the all time, that's JPJ. But let's see. I mean, it was played in 20, 2018 once, 2017 three times, no full band, and it was played a little bit in 2016. But in 2012, it was played a lot, a little more frequently. 13 as well. I heard it in 14, 7, 12. In 2015, it went back up. So, I mean, it's a song that hasn't been played that much recently. I heard both of them too. The Seville one was dope. And last night, I went to the transition of last night. I think the Seville one had more of a noise. The stuff I heard from last night, people were happy. I just think however the sound time you couldn't capture it. The Seville, if you listen to those, I'm like, oh my god! And plus, it was the first one in a while. This one was people were going nuts, but it was like we just had it in Seville. So, but there was people still happy. I mean, that still was a great thing. But and Seville has a crowd that's more in tune with the rare cuts than a Dallas. There were fans that knew about it. Of course, the fans in the pit know about it, but the rest of the crowd they may like it, but they weren't as nuts as again Seville or those people are traveling or hometown fair. But just definitely a cool thing. I need to wrap it up soon. What else? Okay, so the big thing is this. This is where I think I was wrong. I talked about I talked about having this mindset of like, come on, DMB, pick it up, do better. And as I look back, all they really did is they just added a preseason. The regular season started in Des Moines, Iowa, and the preseason were the shows prior to that. Europe was a preseason. That was Europe is like when the European football teams, Juventus and Manchester United and Arsenal and Man City, even sometimes when they come over here and play in the summer with their non-starters or a couple starters that are Liverpool, Liverpool. My buddy is a really huge Liverpool fan. I've always been an Arsenal guy, but I haven't been able to watch Arsenal in years because of the volunteering I do. So I have no idea. I mean, I know Arsene Wenger is gone. He left, and but yeah, that's what it's like when they come over here. People are just happy to see it. That's what Europe was for. It was like a reverse European soccer coming, going across the pond the other way to do some friendlies. And then the preseason was everything before, even with Raven coming out in Pensacola, the first leg of this tour before Des Moines, even though that's part of the first leg, like everything before Des Moines is the preseason. You're seeing who you're going to keep on their roster. You're seeing who you're going to cut. You're going to see who's going to be where. Some people are going to go to the minors. Some people are going to go to the majors. But after the first leg, after the first part of the first leg, the second part of the first leg started to really turn up. And we see these shows again, not magical, miracle working shows of, boom, this hasn't been played since 2010. But you have some very, very magical moments. And what you saw, my theory was proven right about the settlers complaining. What you saw is this. Ultimately, however it happened, whether it was disrespectful fans who shouldn't have been, saying all this bad stuff about Jeff, whether it was just Jeff, the band wanted to make things change. However it happened, things changed, and they changed for the better. So we got a regular season, and I should have been patient. And I was preaching patience in my videos, but at the same time, I was like, all right, come on, come on, let's go, let's go, let's get it, let's go, let's get these songs coming out. But they took this thing to a new level, and they started earlier. The band started earlier, and that's really what you got to look at. This has always been this time of year that the band has had. They've always started off in Texas in middle to actually late May. They've always started off in Texas, and in recent history. They'll throw something a little before that. They'll do some stuff in the South. And Patrick says Europe wants the hits while we want the deep tracks. Um, Talking to yeah, probably was better for those because Peter shows. Also, Talking to was talking about the difference between last night and Seville with Halloween. Um, Talking to says, can't believe I'll see people complaining about the last four shows, me getting garbage set lists. Yeah, I mean that's just the thing is people are always going to be like that. I mean, I live in New England Patriots country, and the Patriots have won pretty much. They just keep winning. Okay, I got my Patriots mantle up there, um, or like a little. It's like a little box. It's like a little. I can't even explain it, but it's. I will move my laptop. My laptop is on its last leg. Like literally, the screen is like part of it detached from the. But Patriots fans complain and they keep winning. They keep winning every other year. Go blue, yeah. Michigan time Raiders. Sorry, talking to I know you know Michigan is the opposition to the Ohio State. But yeah, Patriots fans complain. Yankees fans complain. You know, Red Sox fans complain. The Red Sox are now like they're winning more than the Yankees. I'm a Yankees fan, so it's like people are always going to complain. You just got none. Some people want and look, I understand. I love broken things. I love the riff. Okay, I love. Yeah, Michigan fans complain. Yeah, but at college football, it's just college football, college football. People, that's their life. Okay, we think DMB is life. We wouldn't fight someone over D. I mean, football is a religion. We think people just because you tattoo DMB stuff on your body. No, 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 no. Football is a religion. It's a way of life. I mean, people have stuff in their neighborhood. I think it's the rivalry part of it. You don't have a rivalry with DMB. It's not like Creed and DMB have like a rivalry of like, yeah, oh, you like Creed, oh, you like DMB. Actually, some people hate both Creed and DMB. they some people would put them in the same category allegedly, but right, it's sports is different because you have an opposition. But what am I say? I don't even know what I was gonna say. Yeah, people are complaining. Like some people want broken things to come back, and they want away from the world to come back just because they want broken things to come back. It's a minority of people, but they're still out there. Like, okay, you got Say Goodbye, Halloween, the Stone Back Night. I went away from the world. Okay, bro. Like I love broken things, but bro, if you get Halloween in the Stone, the last thing you should be crying about is away from the world. Okay, you just like these sets. If your sets are going to be like the sets we got this weekend, and there's more liberations and more tour debuts, and none of them come from away from the world, who cares? Who really cares? I mean, obviously you probably do because that's why you're complaining. But take what you can get, especially when this band is pulling out JTRs, out of nowhere. Getting rid of you and me's for Nancy's the Warehouse. Yeah, that's a little more standard. But to get rid of a you and me is a big thing versus the Nancy the Warehouse that pops up every now and then. So people are always going to complain, but what we've seen here is my theory was right. Everyone's happy for the most part. There's some complainers, but everyone is like the people who say they can listen to Dave here, the phone book. They're having a boost. There are people from Nashville that they were upset. They were like, no, no, upset. Nashville was the time of their life, and the energy I heard from someone who had favorable words about the set list from Nashville, especially after Iowa. He said, "Look, I can't deny the energy was there. energy was with the band, with the crowd. But it just, he said the set just it needed that X factor of a song from me as a deep cut fan. I'm a guy who John Dix who goes to tons of shows a year. So I mean, people from Nashville who were like, they were, oh, that's the best show ever. Oh, it's the best show of the tour. Well, holla, holla. Pensacola was better. Anyway, but they were like, oh, it's the best tour of the show, like up until that point. And then we get the set from Iowa, and all the Nashville people are like, oh man, I wish I had the Stone. I wish I had. Talking to us is the number one wishes for DMB shows the energy in the band's performances. Right, and that's the thing is the energy also gives you certain moments. Um, right, the energy of certain songs it can change the feeling of a show, even if it's the set list seems on paper cookie cutter. And that's why I agree with Talking Tunes, where he says your stance Talking Tunes has always been don't people shouldn't really judge a set list they didn't go to heavily, like oh that was trash, that was, and I do agree with that because if you're not at the show, you don't know what the energy is like. And there are shows where you look at the set list, and you look at how you felt, and it's different. Uh, you could have an extended song, but then like when you have a So Right, even if So Right is like that's the one song that's like super rare and everything else is more cookie cutter. But if that So Right has an extended jam, like some of the So Right, like the So Right we had from one of the Warehouse discs, like it has an extended dun, 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 like, and it just keeps the energy is there. That's totally different. Captain, same thing. Even though Captain's a really nice track, the Captain reprise that we got on one of the bonus discs from the live tracks, I think it was 36. That thing is bad. That's a bad boy. I mean that's some really just woo keeps going after the Captain reprise and it just they stop, they cut everything off and then boom, they go back into the gym. Um Patrick, I'm gonna make a sure don't judge the set list, especially if you were not there. Yeah, and put like one of the worst set lists ever, like Boston of the Boston show. The Boston show last year for the fall tour was pretty like yeah, put that set list like what was that set? Let me go back to that set. Now they played Say Goodbye. They played Say Goodbye, but it just that was it. After that, it was goodbye to the set. Boston 2018. And the Arkansas one from last year too. Um no, Orange Beach, Alabama, not Arkansas, not Brandon. All right, so this is Boston. This is Boston this year. I mean last year. Every day, funny the way it is. That girl is you, Granny. Oh, they did have bartender. Wait, am I looking at that? And they had belly, I guess. Looking back, this show wasn't as bad as I thought. But okay, so yeah, every day, funny the way it is. That girl is you, Granny. Then you have a bartender. Then you have Gray Street again and again. Sledgehammer. You did have Come On, Come On. Say Goodbye. That's that pivotal point. And then you have Warehouse, Belly Belly, Nice. The space between Louisiana Bio, Where Are You Going? She, Crash Into Me, P&P Rapunzel, Christmas Song. And then you have a watchtower where you can't even hear Tim. Oh, I bought all the posters. That's a good one. Or one that says ISO in search of like pit ticket. Or ISO pit tickets for night one for pit tickets to night two or something like that. Something like a very, very horrible trade there. But and that's all I got. We got a little break here till Camden. I think that's good for the band. I believe in the breaks for the age of this band. And just the touring age of this band. They toured nonstop. So I think we're gonna talk more about that. I gotta go. I'm tired. I'm yawning already, so I need to go to bed. Make some videos during the week. At least one video. And that'll be the video on DMB and the sound of DMB and what I think goes well with this band. Thank you guys for the support. Definitely like, comment, subscribe. And other than that, follow me on Twitter at ConserViz34. Always put those quick clips up of the thoughts I have. And then follow me on obviously YouTube. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. Talking Tunes, I'll let you get back to work. Thank you for supporting Patrick. Thank you for supporting everyone else that's on. Thank you guys for supporting. And everyone that's even just recent people on Twitter and things like that who just started responding more, talking more. Thank you. People that disagree, DMB SPAC and my guy, brother, what's his name? Brother Derek, I think it is. Like, even you guys who disagree with certain things, it's great to talk it up, chop it up, and have those debates. There, have those opinions and thoughts. But this band is in the right direction. I overreacted in some points, even though I told myself wait till Camden, which is coming up now. Camden is the next show next month. But they had their preseason. We're at the regular season. If they're doing what they're doing now, if they make spontaneous moments, this has no reason that it can't be the greatest tour since 2013. Buddy Strong, as great as ever. Jeff Kaufman doing his thing. Carter Beauford, like, dude, he's in his 60s, still killing it on the drums. Fonzie Fonz is Fonzie Fonz. He is not emo Fonz from the Super Bowl, and he's doing his thing on bass. And obviously, Tim Reynolds, I have my opinions about him, but dude can play. At the end of the day, he can play. A lot of the stuff that I have about him is even more the sound guy. It's not about Tim. Tim's going to play what he's got to play, but it's the sound guy. And it's also what Dave wants from the sound guy for Tim. And again, Dave Matthews, man, just doing his thing, man, doing his thing with these sets, challenging himself. Stone back-to-back nights, incredible. Rashani Sean doing his thing as well on the horns as a playmaker, play calling some of these stuff they do, the grooves and the jams. Some of the stuff that's been mixed up with Crush in the last couple of years is Rashawn and his planning, even if it's other people playing. So, Conservist 34, it's your boy. I need to go to sleep. It's been a long but fun and amazing weekend. So, peace.